it's Trina, and this is my monthly recommendations video for the month of October. Our theme this month is Monster Mash. So this month we are recommending books that feature all kinds of monsters or creatures or things that might be appropriate for Halloween time. And if you aren't familiar with the monthly recommendations group, this is a group where once a month our members come together and recommend all books based around one theme. It was co-created by myself and my friend Kayla Rain, and I'll have a link to the group down below in case you want to join in or see what the rest of the book community is recommending this month. I do want to point out that I did a couple of Halloween theme book recommendation videos last year. There was my monthly recommendations last year of creepy books, as well as I did the Creatures of the Night tag. So if you're looking for more creepy books or books about different creatures that I would recommend, please check those two videos out because I definitely still stand behind the recommendations that I gave in those. So I just kind of have a random collection of different types of monsters and creatures in these books that I'm going to be mentioning today. And one of the first creatures that always comes to mind when I think about like Halloween are vampires. I did read a vampire comic starting last year and this year that I do want to recommend because I haven't heard very much about it. That is the American Vampire series by Scott Snyder. This is volume 3. I have read volumes 1 and 2 before, and this is definitely a comic series for people that want good old-fashioned terrifying vampires. These are not romantic lead, sparkly vampires. These are like the terrors of the night type of vampires, and it is following basically the story of how the first vampire was bitten and turned in America, and we follow them throughout history, so different decades, so it is kind of like an alternate history. Next, I want to talk about were creatures or shapeshifters, so people that can shift into other animals or other forms. And one of my favorite shapeshifter stories is a graphic novel. It is Nimona by Noelle Stevensen. This is about a girl named Nimona who can shapeshift into anyone or anything, and she decides she wants to be a sidekick to like the baddest villain in the land. This isn't something that I would consider a creepy read necessarily, but I think it would be a cool read for Halloween because it's a quick, short read about a shapeshifter. Another series that features were animals that I really want to talk about these wares is the Aragon series, or the Inheritance Cycle series by Christopher Paolini. In this series, in book 1, you meet a werecat, and the werecats don't really play a large role until book 4, but these werecats are incredible. I love them. So the race of werecats is being enlisted into being an ally in a war, and they're like, you must pay us, but not in gold. We want fish and soft cushions in your throne rooms. And I'm like, this is such a cat thing. Like, cats would totally say, please pay us in food and soft cushions. So I love the werecats in this series. The next thing I think about when I'm thinking about Halloween type creatures are zombies. They are a classic, and I've recommended a lot of zombie books in the past in those previous 2 videos, but one that I have read this year that has creatures a lot like zombies is Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan. This is set in a world that is completely enveloped in darkness. When the darkness took over this world, these creatures came up out of the ground, and they're kind of like mole creatures. They're huge, but they eat people. It definitely has that same vibe, that kind of post-apocalyptic zombie type vibe. Another creepy monster I always think of around Halloween time are ghosts, and a book that I would recommend definitely that deals with ghosts is the Vanishing season by Jodi, Lynn Anderson. This book is actually set in winter time, and you're following a girl that has moved to a new town, and in the surrounding area a bunch of girls have gone missing, and the house that she lives in is actually haunted by a ghost, and you do get a few chapters from the point of view of the ghost. It's not like a creepy story at all. Maybe there are some kind of chilling moments because you're reading from the point of view of a ghost. Pick this one up if you're looking for something that is very atmospheric. You really feel like you were in this small town during winter. Like, when it describes a cold scene, you're literally getting chills because like that is just coming through the writing so well. But I would pick this one up just if you want something atmospheric or about a ghost whose point of view that you read from. Another series I would recommend if you're looking for a story about ghosts is the Diviners series by Lemma Bray. This is the second book, Lair of Dreams, and this one, in addition to having ghosts, it also has demons and people with psychic powers or supernatural abilities. There's also a character who is kind of a steampunk cyborg, you know, like an automaton. So there's a lot of creepier elements. I really love this series, and it is incredibly diverse. You have point of view characters that are gay. One of them is black in an interracial relationship in the 1920s because it is historical, and in this book we introduce a character that has a disability. So I really love this series. I love the characters. This one does have a whole host of different types of Halloween creatures and monsters. I have a couple of other books I want to recommend that just have kind of general monsters that I don't really know where to classify them as. So the first one is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is a middle grade novel Normal, and it's about a boy who is being teased and bullied at school, and he's having a hard time in his home life with his separation of his parents. And one night this monster comes knocking on his door and invites him to go on these adventures with him, and he tells him these like fables or fairy tales and tries to like teach him lessons about dealing with the things that he's going through in life. There are lots of illustrations throughout this book, and some of them are kind of creepy. Like the monster does look kind of creepy, but he's not an evil or inherently bad monster. But this does deal with a monster, so I thought I would throw it in here too if anyone is looking for like a less creepy but more poignant read. Another series that I would recommend that deals with monsters that I can't really classify, but I do think that they would fit, is the Mara Dyer series by Michelle Hodkin. The whole premise of the series is, does the main character really have supernatural abilities, or does she have a psychological issue? So you don't know if these powers are in her head or not, but the power that she thinks she has is the ability to kill people with her thoughts, and that's a pretty scary thing to think about. So I think I would kind of classify that ability as being monstrous. And watching the main character kind of try to figure out if her powers are real or not does have several very creepy moments. So yeah, it's definitely a good one for this time of year. The last book that I want to recommend in this video is You by Caroline Kepnes, and you might be wondering what monster does this deal with, but I think that the main character in this one could be classified as a monster because humans can be very monstrous. This story is in the head of a stalker. He is not a pleasant character to read from. It is really creepy, really chilling. It is all told in second person, so it's like this main character is talking to the person that he is stalking, so the entire book is full of like, I saw you walk into the store and then I asked you what your name was and I followed you back to your apartment. It is very, very creepy, very unsettling to read through the point of view of a stalker, because you really do feel like you're the one being stalked, or even that you're the one doing the stalking because of how you were so in his head. So I do definitely recommend it if you're looking for a book with that kind of a vibe. So those are the books that I would recommend for this month's theme of Monster Mash. All the books with monsters from the supernatural type to the human type that I have loved and would definitely recommend. I think any of them would be very fitting for this time of year, and I hope that I have given you guys a good mix of books that are creepy and books that aren't so creepy, so that you can choose whatever type of vibe that you are looking for. If you have any great recommendations that deal with any kind of Halloween type monsters, please let me know those down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!